Well, hello everybody. Pastor Randy here. Welcome to Making It Simple. Hope you're doing great on this beautiful Tuesday. Had to miss you yesterday. Didn't get to start the week off together. Had some family matters I had to take care of. But back today with our last lesson in this Picking the Vine series. And I hope it's been a blessing to you. I have thoroughly enjoyed teaching this. And if you follow this channel or look at these videos, you'll notice there's been a slight change. We've kind of prioritized these, put them in some playlists and some different stuff. So you can go back through the whole entire archives and look at this entire teaching series in its totality. So we're going to look today at the last part. The fruit of the Spirit is self-control. Yeah, boy, sometimes that one can be a little tough, right? Because we struggle with those things. Very often in life, the proclamations, resolutions, whatever that we make, they are all centered around one word. In fact, that one word is one letter, I. We wrestle with that. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And in general, that's not always wrong, okay? Depending on what the statement is that follows that. It's not that that statement or that intention doesn't start off with good intentions. It's not that at all. But oftentimes what we find is if the source of that, what I'm going to do, is just me, oftentimes that ends in failure, because I can only go as far as I am able. When we think of comments like I'm going to, or when we see life kind of reeling out of control, and we begin to think of things like, well, I'm never going to do that again, and I'm never going to make that mess again, and all those different things. I'm going to change my diet. I'm going to stop smoking. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to. Well, what is the problem with that? We've all heard those statements. In fact, we've all said those statements. But the problem is we oftentimes don't follow through with those statements because we're dealing with us. And oftentimes our willpower or our inability to have self-control is not very strong. And this is what this whole entire chapter is about. This whole entire lesson is about understanding the power that we have available to us through the things of God. As we've looked through this study, as we've understood the fruit of the Spirit, we begin to look at each component, beginning at love, now ending at self-control, is indeed what we are offered through the presence and power of God, through the indwelling of His Holy Spirit that allows us to have the ability to do the things that He has called us to do. So how do we get to this place? How do we find this success, if you will, in this high stressful, high level of everything life that we are going through? Well, I want us to look at the word exchange. And this is just going to be the first part of our lessonry today. If we look at the word exchange, we see that word means trading one thing for another. Philippians 4:13 says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. In other words, exchanging self-confidence for faith. Now, self-confidence can be a great thing, okay? We want to believe in ourselves. We want to believe in our abilities. That's the plus side of that. The negative side of that is I'm limited by that because of only my human capabilities. I'm not able to go any further than that. Jesus would even say that apart from me, you could do nothing. Now, of course, he's not speaking of literal in that sense. He's saying nothing that advances what he's called us to do, because we're to be with him. You know, we are to have the indwelling of his Spirit. We are to have the power that he offers us. So the Holy Spirit adds, if you will, a divine dimension to everything that we're doing, so that we can not only exchange the self-confidence for faith, we allow then for a door to open to the unlimited power of God. Do we see where there's a difference there? Do we see why that would matter, as if we're looking at this in a different way? Because then we're no longer just counting on our ability individually, but we're counting on the power of God, which is unlimited. And this will move us into the deeper part of this lesson, because the idea of the statement, I can't, when we begin to understand the power of God, when we hear that word, I can't, that begins to diminish, and we see it replaced, exchanged. Again, we look at word exchange with I can't, but we can. And when we begin to understand that, it changes everything about life. We then begin to understand that Joshua didn't tear down Jericho by himself. We see that David didn't defeat Goliath all by himself. We didn't see the common fishermen change the entire world by themselves. No, they coupled everything with the power of God. None of these were acts of self. None of these were acts of look at me. These were acts of submission to the power of God and the acceptance of alone, I will fail, but with him, all things are possible. We'll pick back up on this tomorrow, friends. God bless you. We're going to look deeper at the fruit of the Spirit is self-control. God bless you.